Parallel thoughts. New logo, new us. I'm Benson,
I'm Zach.
and he and I are going to show two vastly different decks, building around one commander. Because him and I, we don't really synergize well together. So we thought, we'd take our own stab at it. Now, the only difference is that we are putting both of our builds into the 99 of one commander. Now, you could build both together. You could build one idea. You could build my idea or his.
Mine.
But we're gonna show you, I guess, two different takes. And if you build it all together and it works well, then phenomenal. We didn't plan that because again, no symmetry, no synergy. We're gonna give it a go though. So we're going into the 99 of Omnath, Locus of Creation.
Fwam, 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 fwam.
Now, it is Omnath, Locus of Creation. However, I didn't really build around Omnath. I'm gonna I'll fess up. I didn't build around Omnath. I took mine in a different route. Did you build yours around Omnath?
No, I did not, Benson.
I kind of
I
made like a secret commander.
I was
If you
just about to say the same exact thing. I definitely,
oh.
I definitely have a secret commander as well.
Okay. Now with the index that Magic has, I'm sure it's not the same secret commander. So let's see what you got. I
Sure.
Yeah, you go ahead, buddy. I want to see what you got. Show me something.
Okay. Okay. So if you've listened to our podcast, if you've listened to me talk about red as a color, my absolute favorite red card ever printed
Oh God, here we go.
is Brash Toner. So I made my whole idea for Omnath is a Brash Tonner deck. So I have a Jeskai Brash Tonner deck that basically just runs around creatures that are in blue and red and white that basically whenever they take damage, it can just deal damage to everyone else, right? So the cool thing with Omnath is we get access to green, right? So
Heck yeah.
it makes us be able to ramp better and really smooth out things so we can have these really big plays. And Omnath itself is able to, after you've ramped a couple times in the same turn, you can actually ping Omnath and Omnath can do damage. I'm sorry, you can ping with Omnath to like your Brash
Mhm.
Tonner and do that damage elsewhere, and there would be reasons to um, just continue that like snowball effect.
Seen that deck snowball without green, so I can imagine what we could do here.
Who did you build around? Since you said you had a secret commander, Benson.
Yeah, I built mine around Zakama, Primal
Ooh,
Calamity. Yeah.
okay.
Now Omnath is going to help a little bit. If you read Omnath's ability there, that if you play your second land, you get the 4 mana.
Hmm.
So we're going to try to get Zakama in our hand, and we're going to play that second land, and we're going to see how fast we can get Zakama out and untap our lands. Now, the reason why I wanted Zakama in here with the color blue is because of Zakama's ability where he can pay 3 and you can destroy an artifact or an enchantment. And that's where mine's going to come into play.
Okay. So is there some like notable cards you want to start with, or do you want me to go in on like some of my strategy?
You know what? I'll pop off with the reason and the way that this deck on my half, the better half, is going to work.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
have Enchanted Evening and Mycosynth Lattice in there.
All right. Well,
So
let's
yeah,
start with Enchanted Evening.
Enchanted Evening. All permanents are enchantments in addition to their other types for
I see what you're
true
doing here.
colorless and hybrid Azorius. And then Mycosynth Lattice. All permanents are artifacts in addition to their other types. And all cards that aren't on the battlefield, spells and permanents are colorless. And you can use any mana, spend any mana color, which is awesome. So I'm just going to watch the world burn. And I'm going to do it from the head of a dinosaur. or
Well,
3, the
that's
3 heads of a dinosaur, yeah.
which head are you gonna set on while this is happening?
Hey, you know what? This like I like the art there. It kind of looks like a boy band album cover. I think I'm the guy looking on to the right in the distance there. I'm really contemplating things. I'm trying to find myself. Uh,
Do you think
but
do you think that's the head that blows up stuff, or do you think it's the
well, he's kind of yeah. I'd say so. These two are a little more aggro. I'd say the guy at the front 3 damage, and then this other guy smiling. You know he's 3 life. So yeah, I'm gonna say say the guy in the
okay.
background. He's blowing up things. Yeah, so I guess that starts me off. What route besides Brash Tunner are you gonna take this?
Um, well, you have Brash Tonner, you
Oh,
have
I mean his
Boros
little friend.
Reckoner,
Yeah, there you go.
you have Mog Maniac, Nin the Pain Artist.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Oh, there's your blues
S-
coming through. Sure.
Yep. True Fire Captain, Spite Mirror, Spiteful Sliver. These are all cards that I already play in my Jeskai Brash Tonner deck. And basically, it's just going to be that. We're going to drop one of these creatures and force damage out one way or the other, whether it be using stuff like Repercussion. Whenever a creature is dealt
Okay.
damage, Repercussion deals that much damage to that creature's controller, or um, where are we at here? Chain reaction, so that it deals X damage to each creature or X number of creatures on the battlefield. On theme, unintentionally, Star of Extinction. um,
I like that.
so what's kind of nice without us knowing what we were doing, because I didn't know what Benson was building. Benson didn't know what I was building. You went for this whole semi enchantment build, and I went for a semi enchantment build with like repercussion and pariah and fiery emancipation, of course. So I have a couple cards that I think are going to be helpful for what you want to do as well as what I want to do. So one I want to talk about right now is cleansing meditation. It's one white white. It says it's a sorcery and it says destroy all enchantments.
Okay.
Threshold, instead destroy all enchantments, then return to play all cards in your graveyard destroyed this way.
Okay. I dig that. Yeah, on along the same lines. Uh because maybe I'll use a comma's gain life ability. Um and with fracturing gust, if you want to pull that one up, it's 2 colorless and 3 hybrid Celestia. And that says destroy all artifacts and enchantments, and you gain 2 life for each permanent destroyed this way. Uh, Now, if you want to scroll all the way up there to Aetherflux Reservoir, this is what we're hopefully going to do with this little thing here. With this little line that I made, we're going to have that mana in order to pay for Aetherflux Reservoir and the Fracturing Gust. We're going to be able to do that easy if we get Zakama, of course. Uh,
Right.
and Basically, yeah. So you're gonna gain all that life from blowing up everybody's enchantments or artifacts with Enchanted Evening Out. But then with all that life, you're gonna in that that mana that you have floating, you're gonna drop Aetherflux Reservoir and you're gonna pop the table. Uh,
So another card that I'm running is Avacyn. So flying, vigilance, indestructible. All other permanents you control have indestructible. So a lot of the stuff that you want to do that blows up everyone else's stuff, if Avacyn is out, it's not going to blow up our stuff. um,
that works
so
for me.
um, we have kind of like you have the general idea of basically what our two halves are wanting to do. We'll delve into those a little bit more as we move on, but let's talk about some of the other stuff. This other stuff I didn't know what Benson was doing. Like I said, he didn't know what I was doing. But this other stuff we agreed on, like, hey, these are cards we want to do. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our tutors. We're running 4 tutors in this deck. Eldamri's Call, green and a white for an instant. Search your library for a creature card. Reveal that card. Put it into your hand and shuffle your library. From the get go, I told Benson that what I was going to be doing was creature heavy, and he said he was doing the same. So it made sense that our tutor package would be creature heavy for the most part, right? There are a lot of things that I want to get one of my creatures one of my Brash Tawner creatures in play as soon as possible. So it makes blocking a pain, or I can just start taking advantage of dealing extra damage with like Fire Emancipation or a big board wipe. It seems like that's kind of what Benson's wanting to do too.
Yeah. Well, you said like when you said creature heavy, like I only have like 4 in here. So I thought maybe like I was thinking like Zakama, he's a big dinosaur. He's probably pretty heavy in
Well,
so I only
I don't
need
think
him tutored. I only need him tutored for my half to go off. So
I was gonna say, like, I guess it was more like I knew that I had a secret commander, and I guess I didn't know you had one. So this can also make sure that the things that we're wanting to do in the deck we can get to. Um,
but
we'll
I'm okay
skip.
with yeah, no, actually I'm just okay with now that we've given a tidbit of each what our deck side will do if we kind of want to just go down the line now and explain our cards.
Okay, sure. You can start off. We already talked about Aetherflux Reservoir. You want to get into the next one?
Guess I can start off with the other destroy all that the game plan here, Bane of Progress. Now, of course, Bane of Progress will also go to the graveyard unless you have, I guess, with Avacyn there to help us
Mm-hmm.
out. Or I also put Soul of New Phyrexia in my deck as well to keep all of our permanents indestructible until end of turn.
It's
If
it's really nice too as Soul with it being a 5 cost ability. Um, if we've hit our second land, we already can pay for. Oh, we can almost already pay for 1 activation of either ability.
Yes, sir. Oh no, like I told you, I was having so much fun brewing this, and I knew that you wouldn't come up with anything like this too. So I kind of just went off with my own flavor here. Like I wasn't really gearing it towards like, oh, he might build this. So I was just having as much fun as possible.
Yeah, I've wanted to do 4 color Brash Hunter for a while, and I just jumped at it because it seems like the commander for it.
In my notepad, in I think if I scroll down, like I brew decks in my notepad all the time. I don't know why I just don't use Architect on my mobile. But I'm just jotting things down. I think like probably 110 notes down, I saw Zakama Blue written. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can roll with that. Uh, now, with on the theme of like keeping our enchantments and our artifacts, Sphere of Safety I've put in here. That's just going to protect us heavily as soon as we get one of those out. The other cutesy card in here is Shambling Suit. Now, actually, I guess for your safety, though, it's 4 and white, and you can't get attacked unless they pay X for however many enchantments you control. Shambling Suit is just 3 colorless for an artifact creature construct, and its power is equal to the number of artifacts and enchantments you control.
See, I like that because if Shambling Suit is very large and we're just having a hard time trying to get through, we can have we can have Brass Donner fight Shambling Suit and then direct that damage elsewhere. It's
You
it's
could do that.
glorious.
Now that I'm looking at it, like if you really need be, if we both had Brash Tanner out in Zakama, you could do that 3 damage to Brash Tanner.
You
Um,
can.
target creature. Uh, the so that was the cute stuff. The degenerate thing that I'm gonna do with this, and everybody's gonna go, "Ugh, why?" I put Aura Thief in here, 3 and a blue. I
I was scrolling up to it. I knew that's what you were talking about.
when Aura Thief is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, gain control of all enchantments. Now it's going to be pretty easy to get to the bin, considering I can ping it for 3 damage. If I don't have a sack outlet, I can just deal damage to it. The other one is Consulate Crackdown, 3 colorless and 2 white. When it enters the battlefield, exile all artifacts your opponents control until it leaves the battlefield. So it's I'm not a big fan of Cyclonic Rift, but if I need to get 2 cards and pay a total of 10 mana, I think that's kind of fair. Uh, I'm gonna call that one fair.
Sure.
The other other cute thing, I guess, we'll go with one more cute thing, why not? A couple of infinite combos with Zakama, just to keep that mana pumping. Because if we do want to destroy every target artifact or enchantment individually, we're gonna need a lot of mana to do that. So one of those ways is with Tamir Sabertooth, which is 2 colorless green green. Uh, and with his ability, you pay a colorless and a green. You may return another target creature to its owner hand, and he gains indestructible till end of turn. So you're popping him back for 2. You're playing him again for 9, but then with him untapping lands, we're gonna net ridiculous amounts of mana, and then we can just blow up the board.
Yeah.
Even if we don't have Enchanted Evening or Mycosynth Gladys out, then 3 damage to every creature that we target. Uh, that's going to probably clear a board easy peasy. And also, if we want to just gain life, an immense amount of life, so that they can try to get commander damage in, but they're not. Then you can go that route too. The cheap way to do things would be with mana reflection, and that is 4 and 2 green. If you tap a permanent for mana, it produces twice as much. We got training grounds in there for yeah, to make it, oh hey, I'm just gonna pay uh
One color.
one color. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I guess I can get into that whole Sanctivator. I was gonna say cheeky for later, but with Omnath, um if we keep bringing him back out and back out, then if we're playing our second land with a loop that I can get into afterwards, then we can just keep generating mana that way. I put a bunch of cheeky there. The other cheap way to do it would be Zerta the Dawnwaker. And we're just using that for the abilities that activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less. Basically, a training grounds and a cute little elemental fox. And aside from illusionist bracers, just so that we can do everything more than once, the other fun one I got here, ancient ruins. Now, Zach, I thought you would like this one.
Yeah.
During each player's upkeep, Ancient Ruins deals 1 damage to that player for each artifact he or she controls. So that's just gonna get silly. It's kinda uh, a thing that would kinda relate to this would be, Karma and Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. Karma is like it deals 1 damage to you at your upkeep for how many swamps you control. I think I think
Yeah.
I think Doran no, Doran, what's that? Darren King of Keldor? I think that's what I saw that first run in. I thought that was super silly.
Yeah, I
But
like that
yeah,
a lot.
lots of ways to generate infinite mana, lots of ways to blow up the board. It's just going to be an absolute hootenanny on my side of things. What about your side, Zach?
So my part of the deck is jam full of taunters. So we have the star brash taunter, 4 and red for a goblin, indestructible, 1/1. Whenever brash taunter is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. And 2 and a red, you tap brash taunter, it fights another target creature. So basically, I want people to poke me so I can poke them back or poke them back even harder. If we don't have Brash Taunter, we have stuff like Boros Reckoner, which whenever Boros Reckoner is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. It's a 3/3 for 3. We have stuff like Mog Maniac, 1 in a red, 1/1. Whenever it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. We have stuff like True Fire Captain. It has Mentor. It's a 4/3 for 4. And whenever it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target player. So we have a bunch of different creatures that are just it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to other people. So in the midst of doing that, we also have cards that are going to deal damage to our creatures and other people's creatures. So a lot of this deck, it seems very oppressive because there's so many board wipes, but it's not because I want to kill people's creatures. I just want to do damage to my creatures. It's for the greater good. So we run stuff like Solar Blaze. It's 2 and a red and white for sorcery. Each creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Uh, Very on theme without knowing it was on theme. We have Star of Extinction for Benson's Zakama, 5 red red for sorcery. Destroy a target land, which that's cool, but we really want it for its follow up. Star of Extinction deals 20 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. If we have a couple taunters out, this just ends the game.
Sure.
Rolling Earthquake. It's X and red for sorcery. It deals X damage to each creature without horsemanship. It's probably never going to be relevant. And
I don't
each
know. I might
player,
have to build one now just in
yeah,
case.
you might have to. Some of the some of the things I think are kind of like what I would consider the stars for my selection. Fiery Emancipation. Um, it's a really good card. It's very silly, so I was instantly drawn to it. 3 red, 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 red. Pretty. If a source you control will deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. So
Disgusting.
this is where I was talking about like sometimes like if you have Zakama out and you have Brash Taunter, just doing damage to another creature might not or a player might not be as good as just dealing damage to Brash Taunter because like if you have Fire Emancipation out, you hit Brash Taunter, so that's already going to be how much damage does he do? Is it 3? Okay, so
Yeah.
that's 9 damage going to Brash Taunter, but then Brash Taunter is going to deal damage to something else, so Fire Emancipation will trigger again, so instead of it
Pay
being the
3,
9,
take 9. Yeah.
well, it'll be more than the 9 because
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So Fire Emancipation is just silly, and I feel like it goes with this theme very well.
I'm right
Another
now, sorry to cut you off. I'm thinking about like what if Odric said with his keyword soup there, what if horsemanship was one of those words? That'd be phenomenal against that card. Rolling
it would be
earthquake.
great. um, Another card that I really like, and I'm glad I finally found a home for it, is Nin the Pain Artist. It's a blue and a red for a 1/1 Vidalcan Wizard. It says X blue red tap. Nin the Pain Artist deals X damage to target creature. That creature's controller deals X damage. So if we have something like Brash Taunter on the field and we've kind of like pooped out our hand pretty quickly, and we have Nin and access to mana, not only can we draw a ton of cards, but we can deal damage to Brash Charmer, which deals damage to somewhere else.
Luckily, I think I gave you a little access to said mana with my
Yes.
list there, so you're kind of benefiting. That's good.
Um, and I think the last card I really want to talk about in my section, and I just felt like it was an auto include for me, was Pariah. It's 2 and a white for an enchantment, which is it's an aura. You enchant creature. All damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to enchanted creature instead. This is so much fun. So if you decide you want to play all the fetches and all the shocks, any damage that would be dealt to you is now instead dealt to whatever creature it's enchanted
There you
to.
go. And in 4 colors, you could probably stack that up pretty nice.
Yeah, so just off the rip, you can do so much damage just by playing the game.
Too bad
It's
we're not in black. We could put a little Death Shadow in there. See how fast
um
we can get ourselves down a
man, if Omnath
that yeah,
would
that
have
gives me an idea for another episode. Never mind that. You just
if only Omnath would have had like I don't know, instead of blue, it'd have been black or something like that. God,
Oh, we'll still see at some point 5-color Omnath. They're just teasing us, right? They've just
yeah.
gone up a
But
color every time.
God, I hate 5 color decks though. I
Would
hate
you hate that 5-color deck?
probably because it's 5 colors. I don't particularly like Omnath.
Well, I don't like building with white, so I'm pretty happy that I have 3 white cards. Now, granted, 2 of those are hybrid white. But
So
Spirit of Safety is the only white card I put in there, but I was pretty impressed.
So when Benson and I built this deck, we obviously didn't know the cards that we were going to what each other were going to be adding, but we did have cards that we agreed on as stuff that just kind of like made sense to go into, right? So we talked about our tutors already. There were a couple that I wanted to talk about again because it kind of makes more sense now that you understand that like we have secret commanders and we have some creatures we want on the battlefield. So
Or a thief.
shared summons is kind of pricey, but it's 3 green for an instant, and by pricey I mean CMC. This is not an expensive card. You can search your library for up to 2 creature cards with different names, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. So with having 2 secret commanders, this can go get them.
No, we're gonna sound like a broken record a little bit, but yeah, each tutor is gonna be good in this deck, regardless of the mana cost. You got to dig through 99 to get one of these cards. So whatever you draw, you take it.
Um, Worldly Tutor, it's just good in decks anyways. 1 green for an instant. Search your library for a creature card. Reveal that card. Shuffle your library, then put that card on top. Um, so I knew why I wanted Enlightened Tutor in here, but I didn't know why Benson wanted a Enlightened Tutor in here. And now it makes more sense. So same thing. 1 white
Yeah.
instant. Search your library for an artifact or enchantment card. Reveal it. Put it on top. So you're just drawing into it.
What
Um,
card could I be getting?
what card could I be getting? Probably Fiery Emancipation or Pariah. It's one of those 2. Just
Yeah,
know.
I have the two. Like it's just gonna be
Our removal is kind of sparse because I was running so much removal, and it seems like Benson's running some removal. So we're running a Beast Within, 2 and a green for an instant. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. Most of the time, that's negligible, but in this deck, I feel like it's even more negligible because it's just going to get wiped off the face of the earth.
just hit it for
Whether
3 damage again.
whether it's whether it's being fought or it's Zakama shooting fireballs at it from the sky. Um, Dubbin's Veto.
Not from the sky, from fairly high up.
Well, I mean,
Sky
it has
sky-ish. I'd
it
have to
has
look at the art again.
hold on. Look at this. Wait, look. The reason why it's the sky, it has this little word right here, reach. And look, it's towering above all the um ruins of what's that? Arazka. And there's the clouds. I'm pretty sure this guy is eating his son. I think that's why he's so happy.
You know what? I get confused because my ego's so high up that everything kinda just seems, at sea level.
Moving on. Dubbin's Veto. White and a blue, instant. This spell can't be countered. Counter target non-creature spell. So obviously Benson has things he wants to go through without being told no, that's not happening. I want this. I want the same thing. Being able to resolve a Star of Extinction with a Brass Charmer on the battlefield is key to killing someone. So
Very
Dovin's
key.
Veto just backs that up. Same thing for Fierce Guardianship. It's one of those cards that we just want to play. Normally, I don't like playing free spells like this, but in this deck, I feel like this is like it is very mana intensive, and being able to have a free spell to play is super helpful.
Free never hurts?
Heroic intervention for just protecting our stuff. We don't want people to mess with our things. We want to mess with other people's things. So the final piece of removal we're running is Path to Exile. It's Path to Exile. You play it if you're in white. There's no really reason not to. I don't think.
No?
Um, our
I mean, I
draw.
I hate it when it gets played against me, so you gotta play it. That's my mindset. If you hate
Yeah,
it if you hate it getting played against you, then you know it's a good enough card to put in the deck.
I got bullied into playing Teferi's Protection, so I
Andrew,
hate that. I
if you're
hate that card.
listening.
Andrew and that turd burglar Brian.
Mm. Oh, yeah, Brian too.
He's he's the worst. Yeah, moving on to draw.
Mhm,
So
draw.
the first card is a Gothian Enchantress. It's 1 and a green for a human druid, Shroud 0/1. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you draw a card. Obviously, I knew why I wanted this card in here. I didn't know that Benson was going to be playing everything as enchantments. So it works out really well.
So
If you end up
well.
liking this build, I could see playing more Enchantress themed cards. This one's kind of expensive, but with it being one in a green and four color deck, it makes it easier to play, and
Mhm.
consistency is key. Um, Beast Whisper, just another good, could be another Enchantress effect, but two green green. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. It's a 2/3. Just fine. I play a lot of
Yeah,
creatures. Didn't know how many creatures Benson was going to be playing, but I could guarantee that I was going to be playing a bunch of creatures. So we will get some card draw of this. Um, I'm going to talk about two cards at once, so I'll read them and then explain them. So we have Curiosity. It's one blue for an enchantment aura,
yeah.
enchant creature. Whenever an enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. And Keen Sense,
Keen
one
sense.
green enchantment aura, enchant creature. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card.
Fantastic.
It's just great.
Yeah,
Um,
for 1 mana, it's such a good if you can pull off the ding, like, I'd put that on Zakama and I would just ding someone.
Zakama, any of my Tawner creatures, even Omnath. It doesn't say as long as you deal damage to an opponent,
Yeah,
and with Omnath, like you're going to deal damage to your opponent. So you're going to at least draw a card. Not that necessarily blue has an issue with drawing cards, or even green for that matter, but it's just another thing to kind of once again help you to stabilize and dig for the things that you want to dig for, and really be able to kind of play the deck. Um, Growth,
100%.
we're running Growth Spiral. It's a good card. Like it's
It's a
just
good
good.
card, yeah.
Um,
We're now in the
Ponder,
section where, like, we don't really need to explain, but we'll explain. That's
yeah,
what
Ponder. It's a good card.
good card.
One blue sorcery. Look at the top three, then put them back in any order. You can shuffle your library if you want. Then you draw a card. Return of the Wild Speaker, which I think is a lot of fun.
Get
It's
played
for
enough.
it, it's so good, especially I think with what we're kind of able to do here. So it's four and a green for an instant. You get to choose one. You draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, which I think there's one human in this deck. Maybe, yeah, I think just one.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to
True
get,
fire? Yeah.
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 I don't think there's anything else.
Nope, I think it's just your true fire captain there.
So you'll be able to to draw at the very least four cards, because I would assume you play Omnath and then you play Return. Or you can just pump your creatures, all of your non-human creatures, which once again we established that's a lot. And with my creatures, if you block, you're either going to take damage from them, or with something like repercussions, you're not only going to take damage from them, but you're going to take damage from your creatures blocking my creatures.
Gross. I love it.
Yes, it's very good. It puts people in a very precarious situation, and I like that. Um, Solemn, because it's solemn. I put it in every deck.
He's an
I
artifact, I'll take it.
I just can't help myself. Sylvan
It's
Library.
value. It's value.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a 2/2. When it comes in, you search for a basic land, put it in play tapped. When it dies, you get to draw a card. Pretty good.
pretty darn
Um,
good.
Sylvan Library. I forget that I have a couple of these, so this is my attempt to remind myself, and I just put them in decks. um,
Fair.
so what's really fun too is I don't know if that actually worked. I have to look at the Oracle text real quick. Benson, you want to entertain the audience for a second?
Sure. With the what I said at the beginning of the episode, by now you might have an idea of how you would build the Somnath. Like, would you build it Zach's way, or obviously would you build it my way, or are you gonna put both of them together? If you think that this deck list looks sweet as is, let us know on Instagram. I think that's the platform I use the most. Zach, is that yours as well?
Um, yeah, Instagram is pretty much the best place to talk to us. I do use Twitter quite a bit too. Um, and Necrozac on everything. So it's
Yeah,
in
some gnarly
pretty.
cards on Instagram. I was on Twitter. I was a comedian. Got very overwhelmed with the influx of people coming in, and then I gave up on that real quick because my anxiety rose.
Um, so I took a pause for a second because, and you should always double check Oracle cards before you decide, especially with older cards, before you're like, oh, this works like I think it does. Um, Sylvan Library, if we have Pariah, we're not going to be able to redirect that damage because how it's worded now, you pay for life. Meh.
No,
Um,
catching it before we see it in the comments, though, Zach. I
yes,
like that.
I guys, I am learning. I am trying. Like, bear with me.
I
I can
probably
brew.
already made 3 mistakes, so it's fine.
I can
I'll
brew
hear about it.
decks. I
I
just,
can brew decks.
not good at nuances. Um,
And see how well that this deck came together, even though it's what, 18 cards each?
mhm.
Like, when we brew apart, we brew better together. That's what I'm
And
noticing here.
I can't stress enough. We didn't know what each other was doing. This is just
No. I
this.
gave him this list like 5 minutes before, and I said, "Deal with it. Add it in."
Um, so final thing in draw is urban evolution. Um, this is can also be considered, ramp, however you want to do it. I put it in the drawing section, but obviously we're playing Omnath, and I want to trigger his abilities or its abilities multiple times. Urban evolution is
Mhm,
going to help to do that. When you look at our ramp section, it's pretty standard, but that's why you see stuff like crop rotation, you see Harrow, you see Spring Bloom Druid, just so we can sacrifice lands to go get more lands that same turn. So we can get to that threshold of, oh, this is our third land, here's that 4 damage. Because absolute worst case, Omnath can just kill people.
mhm.
We're in green, so it's not hard to play multiple lands a turn.
Damage is gonna be coming left and right
From multiple different
from
avenues.
Omnath, from Zakama, from Brash Donner. This is actually, this looks like a oiled machine, but it was not meant to be so.
No. Um, as far as lands go, I just put what I figured, is pretty typical. Um, all of your shocks, you can run your fetches, whatever. Though there were probably, I'd say, 2 lands to really talk about. Hall of Heliod's Generosity. It's a legendary land. You can tap it for a colorless, and you can pay 1 and a white, tap it, put target enchantment from your graveyard on top of your library. M- Every time I play Pariah or I play Fiery Emancipation, it gets dealt with. So being able to put that back on top of the library to draw is super important. Same thing, I'm sure, for something like Enchanted Evening or Sphere of Safety.
Now, the only thing I'm noticing, about your land base is that I know it's online, but it looks like you care nothing about what your basic land art looks like.
Yeah, it was literally just the basics.
I don't know, man. Like on my deck list, I get silly and I type in the exact one I want. I don't know
So
why it needs to look exactly like the deck I have on paper,
no,
but
that's fine. I get that. I do that for my Abzandex and my Mimeoplasm. Those are the only ones that are like verbatim what I
right.
have.
Okay,
um,
good. I thought maybe I was crazy that I was the only one that did it. Okay, feel better.
you're good. The other land, it's another utility land, Rogue's Passage. If you're playing Commander, you most likely know what this does. But if you don't, no shame. It's just a land. You can tap it for a colorless, or you can pay 4 and tap it. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. So big old Zakama coming through.
Big ol' Zakama.
Or something else stupid. I'm sure there's something else
Like,
stupid. A shambling suit.
he's such a badass, and I wanna yell Zakama at the top of my lungs, but it's the it's late at night, and I don't want to get a noise complaint from my neighbors.
So
So,
the
Zakama.
only the only land that, as I'm looking at this, that I thought I included that I didn't include was Ghost Town. I feel like that's always good for a landfall based deck. If you're unfamiliar, I'll I'll pull it up real quick so you can see the art, and I can just read it verbatim. So Ghost Town, you can tap, add one colorless mana to your mana pool. You can pay 0, return Ghost Town to its owner's hand. Use the ability only during another player's turn. So this can also, like, if we get to a point where maybe we're not guaranteeing our land drops, or we've scryed and we got a really good card on top, but we want to trigger landfall some way or another with Omnath, Ghost Town is just good to use. I try to include it in anything that cares about lands at all. Sometimes it also can just, like, if you've played an urban evolution and you need another land drop, you know, you can get there. Or not urban evolution, but growth spiral.
Speaking about caring about lands, Earth Day, that just passed us. So happy belated Earth Day, Zach.
Same to you. Okay. I mean, I guess we're dealing. It is an elemental, with Omnath,
Yeah,
so it makes
on that,
sense.
yeah. Yeah, sure. I thought I'd throw that in there, make it a little awkward for us and everybody else.
I think I'm gonna change all these basics now to the full text basics now.
Oh my gosh, I need those.
As soon as I saw them, I was like, "That's a Benson card if I've ever seen one." If
Like,
only it would have had a rock on it.
I know I'm definitely I put money aside to get at least 2. At least 2.
I want those. I want those psychedelic posters. I love the metal secret layer drop, so I want their indie.
The shred one, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
this other one. I don't know if you've seen it yet. They look sick. If not, I'll text you a picture. But
Take pride in your basic land art, kids. That's what we're
it's
trying to
it's
portray here.
important.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm tr- I'm trying to get Jimmy to just give me all of his gumball basics, his gumball machine lands.
Oh, Mr. Pyrexia himself. Yeah.
Mr. Pyrex himself.
Creator of phenomenal proxies.
He's a he's a
Slight
saint.
plug. Slight
Saint
plug.
Saint Jimmy. Yeah,
Saint Jimmy. Slight plug. Uh,
slight plug.
I I like the deck. I like my half more, but I like the deck.
You know, I like my half more, but I love that they work in tangent very well together. I think if you sat down at a table, and you played this deck, people aren't going to know what you're doing, and you might not know what you're
You
doing,
might
but
not
that's
even know.
fine.
Yeah.
There's
Depending
enough.
on depending on your opening 7, you could be like, "Oh, I'm gonna tutor for this," or "I'm gonna tutor for that," right? You can kinda
Um, what I
choose your own
like,
adventure.
yeah, exactly. What I like is there's enough redundancy in both of our sections that you can get to the general theme of what we both wanted to brew, and still it's still a very cohesive deck to do that, right? You don't have to have Brash Tawner. I have enough Brash Tawner creatures that you can do the thing that I want you to do. You don't have to get into Zakama. You have plenty of other very good cards to, like, do the Zakama thing without
Yeah.
Zakama.
It's just like, your power bar, right? You can plug a couple different things into that outlet. You
Right.
can go off, right? You don't need you don't need it though.
So speaking of power, where do you think this sets on your um power scale? Like, do you think this is still pretty high? Is this like mid tier? Is this super janky?
It's janky, but it's gonna work. That's the that's the only thing, and the amount of, oppression and the board wipes and, like, oh, it's just gonna I'd still say it's gonna be not nice at a table. I don't think you wanna go and play this with a couple people. You go to your commander night when things open back up again, and be like, "Oh, this is my first commander game." Like, you don't wanna play that.
I think that's the deck you play. I think you've gotten jaded over playing over webcam for a year, and this is the first deck you
I
play.
We opened up, and this one guy, he just wanted to play, and we're like, "Okay, yeah, sure. No big deal." Like, we didn't have any pre-cons, but he just bought that Demir deck, which is
Mm-hmm.
good. It's the rogue one, right?
Yeah.
I I had a dark ritual in my hand. I was playing tiny. First off, I was playing Tiny Bones. I had a dark ritual in my hand with an oppression, and I know he wanted to try to mill people, but this kid's first ever game of Commander, and turn one oppression him, and I, I feel bad ever since that. Like I just no matter what deck I have now, I kind of eye other people's decks just to see,
Right. See where
just to
you're
see.
at.
Yeah. This one it might take a play or two, but I don't think that you could. I don't think that this one's going to be nice. I think it's going to be mid range, and I think it's going to be nasty.
But I don't think it's gonna be. I don't know. I think if I lost to any of the stuff that was going on here, I don't know that I would necessarily be mad because it's not your typical like route to win, right? It's not a typical route to victory by any means.
I think anybody in the right mind will be upset to losing to Aura Thief. Just,
Honestly.
I'm going to be excited winning to it. So, and
I don't know.
what did we discuss earlier? If you hate it getting played against you,
You should probably play it.
you should probably play it. Yeah,
Um all right,
conform.
so we've talked about the power level. What do you think? Like, are there any suggestions that after seeing the whole thing together, like something you think that I should add to my section, or something you would add to your section to like make this more cohesive? Because if to me it feels pretty cohesive, but I'm curious what you think.
Actually, more cohesive than um, I thought it was going to be for the fact that we kind of just went into this doing our own thing. And
Right.
I don't understand how we can't do this when we brew together. Like
Yeah.
I feel like we wouldn't have come up with this outcome if we both sat down.
Yeah. There's no
So
way.
continuing on, I think we've come a long way since golems and redheads in our
Yes. The
in,
the trick is to brew apart and then bring together last minute.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, golems and redheads. Check that one out, guys. That's a previous
That's a
episode.
good one.
That's a good one.
Wasn't it gingers and ginger brutes?
Yeah, gingers and ginger brutes. Yeah, we had such a solid abomination of Llanowar and the partners that we did ginger and ginger brutes.
That was good.
But
All
now we're
right.
here. Now we're better. New
Yes.
logo, new us. Parallel thoughts, baby.
Fwing, fwing,
Let's
fwing, fwing, fwing,
go.
fwing. Alright, so I think that does it for another episode of Parallel Thoughts. I've been Necrosack. This is
Benson, also known as some gnarly cards.
um, please feel free to check out the backlog of Parallel Thoughts videos on YouTube. You can find all of our stuff on into99.com. Uh, you can also check out our Discord, where we're all very active in. We have a great community. We have a bunch of different shows, a bunch of different things just going on constantly. We just started this new pre-con league where you get a pre-con and you just play and
Yep,
upgrade as you go along. It's pretty cool. Um, I'm
pretty
probably
gnarly.
gonna I'm probably gonna lose because I'm gonna do some really stupid things as soon as I can upgrade my pre-con. It'll probably be more of a downgrade, but whatever. Um, if you I don't know, if you want to
Yep.
find any of our stuff, you can find us on into99.com. And that's all I got.
You know what? I'm actually now curious. I want people to tell me what their favorite basic land art is. I want to see that in the comments.
What's
Sure.
what's your ad on Instagram so they can.
Yeah. At some gnarly cards. So
There you go.
I don't even care if you format it like arch enemy swamp 66. Is that? It probably is. I don't know.
It's,
Kind of. I kind of just threw that
I
in
know
there.
you'll look them up though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I'll grade them.
You will. All right. So from the guys here at Parallel Thoughts, have a good night, and yeah, thanks for sticking around.